This is Calculating Transportation Costs. I'm Ryan Madison, and this is for EDU 528. To calculate the transportation costs for girls basketball and boys tennis, I went through every trip that we had that required a bus or a van for basketball. I looked up the miles for each trip. The school district has a schedule or a log that lists how far each one is. I multiplied the miles of each trip times 1.43, $1.43 per mile, which is our rate right now at the high school. And then I went to the hours the bus driver would be there, what time we left, what time we got back, and multiplied that times $14 an hour, which is our rate for that also. I then added those two totals together for the total of each trip. We do have a trip where we take vans only. We don't take the bus. And so for that trip, I multiplied the number of vans, which we have 3 vans per day, and took that times 70, which is $70 a day for the vans. And then I added those, and I took that times 4 days, the number of days that we were going to have the vans. And then I added that on the total side of the Excel spreadsheet, which I'll show you in a minute. And there's no fee for bus drivers in that case, which is one of the reasons we take vans to this. It saves us a little bit of money. There's the 3 vans, and each one of the coaches, the varsity coach, the JV coach, and the freshman coach, take a van. And then I added all of the trip totals together, and the total for girls basketball this year was $4,080.30. So here is the spreadsheet. And again, I have the dates, the levels of each one. I have the miles, the rate, the totals, etc., all the way over. And of course, in the right-hand column here is where the total is for each trip. You can see in the middle columns here, the vans, or the middle rows rather, the vans over here, and how much they cost for each trip. And then down here, the $4,080 in the total there, and then the boys tennis down at the bottom. Again, the boys tennis costs I did pretty much the same way as the girls basketball. We only have 4 away trips in boys tennis this year. I'll explain that a little more, why there aren't more. Also, I'll explain why there aren't more levels. It looks like there's only a few JV games, and I'll explain why there aren't more of those for basketball here in just a second. We don't use vans. We have more players out this year than we've had in the past, so there were no vans on the expense for the boys tennis team. And the total for boys tennis is only $704. The cost of the tennis program is very, very small. Even the district right now is going through a lot of budget cuts. Even with that, the odds of the tennis program getting cut are slim, because there's not very much cost involved. And finally, some of the miscellaneous items about how we figured some of this up. We don't have our events that are in town, which are a majority of our events. We have teams within the city that we play. We have Benton High School, we have LeBlond High School, we have Central High School, and any activities, varsity, JV, or freshman, that are at those places, the school district does not provide transportation. So that's why there aren't that many items on there for like JV and freshman on the spreadsheet. But also, this year we had more home events than we've had in the past. Next year would be the other way around. We'd have more. Our transportation costs for next year would probably go up slightly. I wouldn't think by a lot, but somewhat, because we would have more events on the road. So again, the students have to provide their own transportation. The parents take them, or they drive themselves. So you don't have many of those issues right there. And same thing for tennis. Our tennis courts are the ones in the middle of town. Our practice courts are over here by Lafayette, but the other ones are down in the middle of town. And almost every single event we have is played at that, including conference and districts. So we have almost no events that require us to take a bus for tennis. And even some of those you saw on there, one of them was Savannah, which is only like 13 miles away. So the cost of a tennis bus, the transportation cost for tennis is very, very low in the St. Joe School District.